Welcome back. In today's session, I will discuss second set of 25 automation testing and Selenium WebDriver with C# interview question and answer. So in previous sessions, I already posted 25 interview question and answer. In today's session, it will be another 25, questions number 26 to 50. What is C# or C#, and what the important feature is lying in the C#. So C# or C# is an object oriented programming language derived from C++ and Java. C# allows developer to build application with the help of Visual Studio on .NET platform. The following are the key features of C#. C# or C# is an object-oriented programming language which runs on the .NET framework, and sometimes it's pronounced as C#. C# is approved as standard by ECMA and ISO. C# is designed for CLI, which is nothing but the Common Language Infrastructure. CLI is a specification that describes executable code and runtime environment. C# supports the development of console, window, and web-based application. It provides features such as encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism, which are the OPS concept, right? So it is a derived from the C++ and Java. So most of the features is having in the C# for C++ and Java. Why is C# is useful for the automation testing? So C# is useful for automation testing because it allows the automation test engineer to develop an application with the help of Visual Studio on .NET framework. So just like Selenium with Java, you already see we can create the project with the help of Eclipse, right, or other IDE. But here we'll be using Visual Studio, and with the help of .NET framework we'll be creating project, right, and then we'll be creating so many lines of code. So C# is another programming language that also supports the binding with Selenium, and this language binding will be updated along with the Java program. C# IDE is nothing but the Visual Studio, which gives faster development and debugging experience as compared to Java's Eclipse. C# has a lot of inbuilt function which make the development fast. So that is the reason C# is very useful, especially for any automation testing, even with the help of Selenium WebDriver as well. How to download and install in Visual Studio? Because Visual Studio is the IDE for the C#. So first you need to install the Visual Studio to proceed with the C# programming, even with the Selenium WebDriver as well. So Visual Studio is a C# IDE or integrated development environment which is used to develop application on various platforms like Windows, Mac, etc. First you need to go to the visualstudio.microsoft.com downloads URL. Then you need to click on the free download buttons displayed under the community option for Visual Studio 2022. After the download is happened, right, you need to navigate to the download folder and you need to open the Visual Studio setup.exe file. So Visual Studio installer should launch, right. You need to click on the yes if asked for the admin right. In case if it's asking for the admin right, you need to click on the yes. After that, Visual Studio pop-up will appear for privacy and agreement. So you need to click on the continue button. After that, you need to click on the install button. So as and when you'll be clicking on the install button, right, you need to select some drop down on the install button page again. One is some checkbox: Universal Windows Platform Development, .NET Desktop Development. Once you check the checkbox, then you need to wait for the installation of each component to complete, which might take 30 to 40 minutes time. Once it is installation is complete, you need to restart your computer, desktop or laptop, so that installation will be successful. Then, so after that, you need, once your system is restarted successfully, you need to search for the, you need to press Windows in the search Windows box. You can search that Visual Studio 2022 on the start menu, right? Or maybe you can move your cursor on the desktop or laptop, on the desktop for your laptop or desktop. then you can right click here. After that, Visual Studio 2022 options will be there, you can launch it there, right? So if not, right, click if you click on that, right, after that you need to click on not now or maybe later link in case you do not have any existing account. Sometimes it will ask you to that whether you have existing account or not. In case you do not have that, you can skip it for now. Okay, in the next screen you need to select the color theme, right, whatever you like, and you can click on the button Start Visual Studio, right? So the first thing user will see after opening Visual Studio is the Start window. The Start window is designed to help user get to code faster. It has option to clone or check out code, open an existing project or solution, create a new project, or simply open a folder that has some code files already. To continue without code options, open the Visual Studio development environment without any specific project or code loaded. So initially definitely you should not, as and when you will be installing the project, right, you should not have some code written, but you did not create any project. But later point of time, once you created so many things, you can open the existing project, you can open the existing folder like that. Okay, but initial first time you can go with the creation without skipping everything. Sorry, with skipping everything. How to create a new project in Visual Studio? First you need to go to the file menu, then you need to click on the new and then project. The create a new project window will open and it will show several project template. So what is template? A template contains the basic files and settings required for a given project type, right? You can search, filter and pick up the project template. So first you need to do, in the search box at the top, enter in console to filter the list of project type. Further, refine the search result by picking CS from all language drop down list and select Windows platform options from all platform drop down list. So you need to select CS language and you need to select Windows based on your machine setting, right? After that you can select the console app.NET framework template and then you can choose the next button. After that, once you select everything, the language, then the Windows platform, then the console app.NET framework, right? After that you need to provide your project name relevant to your requirement, right? And then you can choose on the again next button. The project should be created successfully, right? So once the project is created, you will find that program.cs file will be created. Okay, so you need to select the code file program.cs in the solution explorer window, which is the right hand side of the Visual Studio. After that you need to open that program.css file in the Windows editor window. The editor shows the contents of the files and the area where user will perform coding work in the Visual Studio. So you created the project and program.cs file also generated, you open the file. The next thing is that if you want to integrate your CS project, right, whatever you have created with the help of Visual Studio, for Selenium WebDriver, especially suppose say you want to run it for the Chrome browser, right? So you need to install few references, just like in the Java project, right? For the Eclipse, you need to associate the relevant jar file in your project. Here also you need to add those references. So first right click on the reference and select Manage NuGet Package option from the Solution Explorer. Right after that you need to search Selenium and select Selenium.WebDriver and click on the install button. Right here you need to click on the OK button in the preview window change. So Selenium.WebDriver should be installed successfully. So similar way you need to install Selenium.support. So this is the two important references you need to associate for Selenium WebDriver. After that, based on your browser you want to run it, right? So you need to also install the relevant references. So if you want to run with the Chrome driver, so you need to install selenium.webdriver.chrome, right? That particular thing, okay, in your project. So once this 3 is installed, right, you are fine to write some code in that particular program.cs file, and definitely you can run your code so that automatically it will behave based on your requirement, right? So how to create fast test cases using Selenium WebDriver with CS? So in Selenium with Java you already see we need to create an object or instance for the WebDriver interface and with the help of Chrome driver class. So here class is still same Chrome driver class, but here in the Selenium with C has, the WebDriver interface will be treated as IWebDriver interface. Then you can create an object of the IWebDriver interface called driver, right, with the help of Chrome driver class. Then once the driver is created, object is created, with the help of that object, you can navigate dot go to URL for a specific URL, right, and you can quit the driver. So automatically it will launch. Open a browser, Chrome browser, it will launch the URL. Once it is loaded, it will quit the driver. So that's how you can try to create your fast test case with the help of Selenium WebDriver in the Chrome browser and C has. What is relative and absolute XPath? So in the previous video, you already see what are the different kind, what is the XPath, how you can create the XPath, what is XPath all about. So here you can get to know what is the basic difference between relative XPath and absolute XPath. So relative XPath is more likely starting simply by referencing the element user want and navigate from the particular location. It's begin from the current location and it is prefixed by double slash. So you already know how to create the XPath. Double slash, then tag name, then third bracket @ attribute equal to attribute value in the single quote. But absolute XPath contains the complete path from the root element to the desired element. It begins with the root path and prefixed by single slash. So it will start from the root element with the HTML tag, then body, then div, and then it will go to the current node, right? So in the real time, it should not prefer to use the absolute path, because in case any particular tag is getting changed, your absolute XPath, whatever you are writing it, right, it will not be valid. But relative XPath, you are starting from a particular location, you know that will be fixed, so there is a less chances that relative XPath will change. So always it's better to use the relative XPath in Selenium WebDriver instead of absolute XPath. What is CSS Selector? So you already know there are different element locator techniques available in Selenium WebDriver: ID, name, class name, tag name, XPath, CSS, link text, and partial link text, right? In case sometimes there is no ID, class, or name is available, or sometimes it is available but there is two component, one is the static component, one is the dynamic component, and there is a chances that dynamic component might get changed, so your name, class name, or ID will not work. So that is the reason you can create either XPath or CSS. So CSS selector are string pattern used to identify an element based on a combination of HTML tag, ID, class, and attribute. Locating by CSS selector is the most common locating strategy of advanced Selenium user, because it can access even those elements that do not have ID or name, or maybe two component, dynamic and static component. CSS selector is used by browser to target specific HTML elements and apply styles. For web browser automation, Selenium WebDriver uses CSS selector to locate and perform an actions on an object instead of applying a style. So using Selenium CSS selector to locate element definitely has some benefit. It is faster, it is more readable, and it is often more used. So what is the basic difference available whenever you want to create a customized XPath or CSS selector? Using XPath, we can traverse both forward and backward direction, means the parent to child or child to parent. But whereas CSS selector only moves in the forward direction, means parent to child, but not from child to parent. CSS selector is easy to write as compared to XPath. CSS selector is faster as compared to XPath. CSS selector does not allow to create a selector based on the text content, whereas XPath allow. So if you want to create a XPath with the help of text, it is possible, but CSS selector does not allow you to create a selector with the help of text available in that particular element. What are the basic CSS selector symbols available in Selenium WebDriver? So CSS can be generated using different methods, right? First thing is that you need to give, if you know the ID, you can give the tag name, then hash, then ID. If you know the class attribute, you can give tag name dot class attribute. If you know, if you do not have the ID or class, you can go with any attribute, first tag name, then third bracket attribute equal to corresponding value, right? So you have even given that tag name dot class and attribute equal to value. If you, there's a static component, a dynamic component, right? You can create with, suppose start with, end with, or the contents keyword, right? So start with, you can give the tag name, then attribute that sign equal to prefix of the string. If it is end with, right, attribute $, and suffix of the string. In case it is contents, I mean, suppose mediator, some medial in some contents is fixed and the their starting and the ending point is volatile, right? You can go with the medial part, so you can use content. Tag name, then attribute star equal to substring or the contents or whatever is the fixed component. Sometimes you will not able to identify the CSS selector uniquely, where you need to use multiple symbols, right, at the same time. So tag name attribute equal to value, attribute 2 equal to value, attribute 3 equal to value, like so on. You can create multiple attribute for creating the CSS selector, right, for element where you is not able to identify element uniquely. So you can use multiple attribute and their corresponding variable value. What are the different IWebDriver browser command available in Selenium, right? So if you want to return the title of the page, you can use title, right? So definitely it will give you string, right? So you can create object constants for the IWebDriver class. You can navigate to the URL. You can get the title with the help of title method. You can store in some string and you can print out in the console dot with the help of console dot write line, which is the syntax for printing any value in the C has. Then if you want to get the length of the title, you can use title dot length. So it will also string. So you can store in, sorry, it will be integer. So you can store in some integer and then you can return the length of the title. If you want to get the page source, right, you can use the page source method, which will return the HTML page source of the current element, right, current web page. If you want to print the URL of the whatever current URL you already navigated, right, you can use the URL method, which will return current URL of the focus browser. If you want to gain that for the URL, what is the length of the URL, so it will be giving you with the help of URL.length, it will be giving you integer value, so you can get the length. So URL.length will return the length of the current page URL. So that are the different IWebDriver browser command available in Selenium WebDriver. Then what are the different IWebDriver browser navigation command available? Navigation means if you want to navigate right from one page to another page, you need to navigate back, forward, refresh, all these tips. If you want to maximize your browser, so these are the things is available, right? The Selenium WebDriver as well. So first, with the help of go to URL method, you can navigate to the intended web page or the URL. Then with the help of manage.window.maximize method, you can maximize the focus browser. With the help of navigate.back, you can navigate back to the previous web page in the browser history. Similarly, with the help of navigate.forward, you can navigate to the next page in the browser history. Sometime in case page is not fully loaded, you can do the refresh of the page. So with the help of navigate.refresh, you can refresh the content of the current web page. And if you want to close a particular browser, you can use the close method available in IWebDriver interface. So with the help of close method, you can close the focus browser only. And if you want to close all the open browser by the Selenium WebDriver, right, you can use quit method, through which you can close all the browsers which are opened by IWebDriver during the test execution. What are the different operations can be performed on the text input? So first thing, you need to identify where it is text, right? So you will see so in so many pages, right, there is some field available, you can enter some value, sometimes it can be disabled, you can get the value. So with the help of input tag, you can get to know that this is a text, right, and type will be text, tag will be input, like that. So with the help of send keys method, you can enter a value in the editable text field. Before that, you need to check whether it's displayed or not, whether it is enabled or not. In case it is displayed, with the help of displayed method, you can check whether the element is currently being displayed or not. And next, with the help of enabled method, you can check whether whether the particular field web edit box field is enabled or not. In case it is visible enabled, right, then you can enter some keys, right, enter some value with the help of send keys method. And after that, once whatever value we enter, sometime you need to clear the value, right? So with the help of clear method, you can clear the already entered value in the editable text. Again, with the help of send keys method, you can enter the value as per your requirement. So if you want to get the tag name of the web edit field, right, so with the help of tag name method, you can get the tag name of the element. And then if you want to get the attribute, right, what is the type, what is the class, what is the ID, what are the different other attribute, the corresponding value, right, with the help of get attribute method, you can get the value of the given attribute. It can be ID, name, class name, etc. for the particular web element. Then there can be link or hyperlink available in the page, right? So how you can find out? So there will be, so if you mouse over your cursor, right, you can find there will be there is a link available. If you click it, sometime it will open navigate to a different page, or sometime it can open in a new window, right? So it is a link. And if you try to search with the tag name, it will be with anchor tag always. So all the link or hyperlink will start with the anchor tag. So what are the different things you can perform with the link? First, you can check whether it is displayed or not. So with the help of displayed methods, right, you can check the element is displayed or not. In case it is displayed, right, you can check whether the link is enabled or not. With the help of enable method, you can verify whether the link is enabled or not. Once it is enabled, right, it is a link, so you can click on that link. With the help of click method, you can click on that link so that sometime it can navigate to a different page or different window as well. It can open a different window as well, right? What are the different operations can be performed on checkbox, right, in Selenium? So if you first want to identify what is checkbox, you can find some of the web page, right? There will be some sort of boxes will be there. So some 4 to 5 option, 3 option, 2 option. You can check both the options. You can uncheck all the options. You can, right? So that's why checkbox open. So if you first time click, so it will be checked. If you again click on the same field, right, it will be unchecked, right? So what are the different operations you can perform with the checkbox, right? So first thing is that you can check whether checkbox is displayed or not with the help of displayed method. Then with the help of enable method, you can validate that whether the checkbox is enabled or not, right? So with the help of enable method, you can verify the checkbox is enabled status or not. Then you can validate that whether the checkbox is already checked or not. So how can you check? You will, with the help of selected method, you can verify whether the checkbox is selected or not. Then in case it is selected, right, if you want to unselect it, or in case it is unselected, if you want to select it, so with the help of click method, you can select or unselect the checkbox. So that are the different operations you can perform on the checkbox. Then the radio button. So for the checkbox, you can check and uncheck so many checkbox. But for radio button, in case multiple 3 or 4 options is there, you can select only one option at the same time. So suppose there is a 4 options is there. If you already selected one, so if you want next time, if you want to select the option 2, automatically option 1 will be unselected, right, and option 2 will be selected. So that is the difference between checkbox and radio button. So checkbox, all the checkbox can be selected or unselected at the same time, but for radio button, only one option you can select it, and the other option automatically it will be unselected, right? So for the radio button, first you can check whether it's that option radio button is displayed or not with the help of displayed method. Next you can check whether it's enabled or not with the help of enable method. After that you can check whether the radio button any option is selected or not. In case it's already selected and that is a requirement, there is no need to perform any action. But in case the other option is selected and you require to select the another new option, so you with the help of click method, right, you can select a radio button from the list of options. What are the different operations can be performed on the drop down field in Selenium? So just like the input right field or the text field, radio button, link, hyperlink, you can directly perform the operation with the help of different associated methods available in the IWebDriver. But in case it's a drop down field, right, how can identify the drop down field? So you can check that whether the tag is with select tag, means, and you under the select tag all the options, drop down options with corresponding value will be get to know. So for whenever there's a drop down, it will be starting with index, it will starting from 0th index, it will go to the n-1 in case n is the size of the total number of drop down values. You can get with the visible text, you can get with the kind of corresponding value as well. So drop down is a method of showing a large list of choices, but only one choice is displayed initially until the user select or click on the drop down. A drop down can be used to select between choices in a form. Selenium already provide select element class that has some predefined method for handling drop down, which helps a lot while working on the drop down menu. To handle drop down and multi-select list in Selenium, user can use the following types of select element method. So sometimes from the drop down you can select only one option. Sometimes from the drop down you can select multiple options, right? Whenever if you want to select something with the help of select by text, select by index, and select by value, these are the 3 important methods available. So with the help of select by text, you can select an option by using the text displayed on the element, while with the help of select by index, you can select an option based on the index of the element. So index will start from 0 and it will go to n-1, where n is the total number of size in the drop down. Next, select by value. With the help of that method, you can select an option based on the value of the element. Then in case there is an option where you can select or unselect multiple things, right? So if you can deselect with the help of this following method, you can deselect by text, you can deselect by index, you can deselect by value, and the last one, if you want to deselect all, so you can use the deselect all method, which will deselect all previously selected options. Apart from that, there are few other methods available, right? One is the option method, through which you can get list of all options of the select element. Suppose in case there is an 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 options is there, with the help of options method you can get all the listed options available in the particular drop down. And another method is available called is multiple, through which we can check whether the element supports multiple selection or not, right? So that is the syntax. So in case there is a drop down, you can identify the drop down field, right? After that, with the help of select element, you can create a object code instance. Then with the help of the object code instance, you can use that select by text, select by index, select by value, deselect by text, deselect by index, deselect by value, or deselect all method, along with options as is multiple methods available in the select element class. Okay. Then what is alert or pop-up in window? Sometime whenever you are working on the web-based testing, right, you will be finding that suppose if you are clicking something, or sometimes some pop-up will be there, alert will be there, right? So you need to handle the alert. Why you need to handle the alert? Because you cannot create a XPath or CSS, or you cannot create an element locator, right, for this alert, right? So that is the problem, right? So alert, what is alert? So alert is a small message box which display on screen notification to give the user information or ask for permission to perform certain kind of operation. There are many user actions that can result in an alert on screen, right? Suppose say user clicked on a button that displayed a message, or maybe when, right, user entered a form HTML page asked you for some extra information. It may be also used for warning purpose. Alert in web page is Java properties, but not the HTML properties. That is the reason you cannot create XPath or CSS, or you cannot identify the element. Hence, element for the alert cannot be recognized through element inspection. So you can see this is the alert example is given, right? There is an OK button, sometimes there is a cancel button, sometimes you need to send some keys. So the different type of alerts in Selenium are simple alert. This alert in Selenium is used for displaying warning or certain information on the screen. So we can either accept or dismiss the alert. Sometimes there is a confirmation alert. This type of alert in Selenium seeks permission from the user to continue performing the intended operation. The preferred operation option should be yes or no, continue or cancel. Then the prompt alert. This alert in Selenium expects the user to enter some information in the text box. So this is alert all about. Then how we can handle the alert, right? Because we cannot inspect the element of the alert. So right, with the help of normal element locator technique, you cannot handle the alert. But there is an alert interface available in Selenium WebDriver, through which you can handle the alert. So one major difference between alert window and regular window is that alert window is blocking in nature. The user need to perform some operation on the alert window before proceeding further on the website or web application. So alert interface in Selenium WebDriver provides the important method, right, which are widely used in Selenium WebDriver to deal with alert. So if you with the help of driver object or created, right, you can go to the switch to and then alert, then you can dismiss the alert with the help of dismiss method. If you want to click on the OK button or yes button, right, you can accept the alert with the help of accept method, right. If you want to get the text of the alert with the help of text method available in the alert interface, you can get it. After that, you can print it out and you can store it some string with the help of console.write line. You can print the alert. And if you want to send some keys in the alert, right, so in the alert interface there is send keys method available, through which you can enter your input data in the alert window. So these are the different methods available in the alert, right. What is frame and iframe in Selenium WebDriver? So whenever you are navigating some of the web page, you could find that, right, in the pages some sort of advertisement or some sort of internal structure is associated, right. So while frames are used to split screen vertically or horizontally, iframe are used to insert contents from other sources such as advertisement into user website. In order to handle frame and iframe in Selenium, user first need to identify how many frame is there and whether frame is available or not. Every window, frames or iframe in a website has unique ID called window handle. Iframe is a web page which is embedded in another web page or an HTML document embedded inside another HTML document. The frame tag specifies that frame is already available in the web page or not. So how can user identify in case any frame is available on the web page? So user cannot detect the iframe by just seeing the page. You need to open the application with the help of any browser. It can be IE, Chrome or Firefox. Then you right click on the page. If the user is able to find options like reload frame, then there must be a frame inside the web page. Otherwise, you can click on the F12 button from the keyboard, then press Ctrl F and try to search with the word called iframe. If the user is able to find some search result, which means some iframe is available on the web page. User can even identify total number of iframes available in the web page with the using below code, right? So driver.find elements by tag name iframe with the help of count methods available. You can get the count which will be integer in nature. After that you can print it out so that it will give you how many frames is available in the web page before handling it accurately. Then in case any frame is available, right, then how we can handle the frame in Selenium. So to switch between frame, user have to use the driver switch to frame dot frame command. So user can switch to the frame in the mentioned three way. First is that if you know the frame index, right, you can provide the index, so it will start from the 0, it will go to the n-1 in case n is the size of the frame, right? So suppose say 1 2 3 4 like that, you can give along with 0. Then switch to dot frame, which is the frame name or the ID. We can pass the frame element name or ID and the driver will switch to that particular frame. And then switch to dot frame web element frame element. You can pass the frame web element and driver will switch to that particular frame. So that's how you can handle the frame in Selenium WebDriver. Then how to switch to default content for the frame. So suppose say you are working in the normal window element, after that you already switch to the frame, and then you can only work on that particular all the element within the frame only. But if you want to again move back to the normal element, so you cannot do the operation in the normal element immediately, right? So you need to go to the default content. So switch to default content. This command selects either the first frame on the web page or the main document when the page contains the frame, right? So switch to default content. Sometimes there can be nested frames available, right? Frame within the frame. So in case you are already working on the nested frame, right? If you want to move to the parent frame again, so you need to do that. After that, from the parent frame again, you can go to the any other subframe. So nested frame is a frame set that contains a collection of frame or subframe. Switch to parent frame. This command selects the parent frame of the currently selected frame, whether it's a frame, alert or new window. Each of these identified with their unique window handle. It is a unique identifier of the type string that is a pointer to a window as it holds the address of the window. So with the help of driver.switch to .parent frame, you can move to the parent frame in case you already navigate to the child frame, right? So frame inside the frame can happen. If you already went to the child frame, you need to move to the parent frame. After that, from the parent frame you can move to the other child frame as well, otherwise it will not allow you, it will throw the error. What is wait in Selenium? So what does it mean by wait? Sometimes whenever you are working on the particular web page, it might take sometimes 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 1 minute. So if you do not handle it, right, so immediately it will try to execute the script and every time your script will fail. So that is the reason wait plays and pivotal role in Selenium WebDriver. So there are certain scenario where the test script is trying to perform an operation on the element that is not loaded or not yet visible, and the test end failing due to this. This happens as the web element on the page are loaded dynamically via Ajax, asynchronous JavaScript and XML, and the JavaScript on any other front-end framework. To tackle this issue, user need to use wait, which is one of the most important and widely used command in Selenium test automation. It helps user to provide simple ample wait or pause time in their script execution, thereby ensuring that their script do not fail while performing automation testing with the help of Selenium WebDriver and CSS. The front end of the most of the web applications are built on JavaScript or Ajax using frameworks such as React, Angular, or other that take certain time for the web element to load in entirely on the browser. So when Selenium comes across application or web element that are still loading, it will throw element not visible exception. Selenium waits can resolve such problem and conflict. What are implicit and explicit wait in Selenium? So implicit wait are used to provide default waiting time between each consecutive test step or the command across the entire test script. Thus the subsequent test steps would only execute when that have elapsed after executing the previous test step or command. The default setting is 0. So once user set the time, WebDriver will wait for that time before throwing an exception. Implicit wait in Selenium does not wait for the time for the complete time duration. Implicit wait in Selenium also referred as dynamic wait. If the particular web element is loaded before the expiry of the specified duration, it proceeds to execute the next lines of code in the implementation. If the particular web element is not loaded within the time frame, element not visible exception or no such element exception will be raised. Hence, implicit wait in Selenium tells the Selenium WebDriver to wait for a particular time duration passed as a parameter before the exception is raised. In case you are not giving anything, it will take the default value called 0. So what is the syntax? Driver.manage.timeout.implicit wait equal to time span from second, from minute, from hour you can use. So I use 60 seconds. So it will wait maximum for 60 seconds before throwing any error. Explicit wait. So implicit wait is specific to the page level, right? So it will not matter whether any particular element of the page is being loaded or not. But explicit wait is used to pause the execution until the time a particular condition is met or the maximum time has been elapsed. Explicit wait are applied for a particular instance only. Explicit wait gives better options than that of the implicit wait, as it will wait for dynamically loaded Ajax element. So with the help of WebDriver wait, you can create an object or instance, you can give some timeout, and after that you can give that particular condition, whether the element is visible, element displayed or not, so that particular until that particular element condition is matching, it will wait, right? And definitely the maximum timeout, time whatever you have given as part of the explicit wait. So that are the different 25 and questions and answer I have tried to cover today. So thank you.